This homemade granola is crunchy, nourishing, and full of flavor. If you're on a vegan or paleo diet, I hope you love this homemade breakfast recipe. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Clean Eating Kitchen. I'm Carrie, and this is my channel, Clean Eating Kitchen, where I share easy, gluten-free, and dairy-free recipes. I use a real food diet to help manage my autoimmune disease and PCOS. So if you're like me and you like healthy and simple recipes, then please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever I upload a new video. So this pumpkin granola recipe is really easy to make. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, and then I'm also going to show you how I make my easy hemp milk that we'll use to have with our granola. So let's get started making the granola. I have the oven behind me preheating at 325 degrees. And now, as I mentioned, this recipe is grain-free, so we're not using any oats. We are just actually going to use a mixture of seeds and dried cranberries and pumpkin puree and pumpkin pie spice. It's so yummy. Let me show you exactly how to do it. So what you're going to need are 2 cups of your choice of nuts or seeds. And I'm actually using a mixture of sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds. But you could also use walnuts or almonds, whatever nut or seed you like. Again, you're going to need about 2 cups total, and I have linked this recipe in the description box below, so you can find the full recipe on my website, Clean Eating Kitchen. I also have some dried cranberries here, and I think cranberries just kind of help add to the fall flavors of this granola. Some people like to add raisins to granola, and you can certainly do that, but I'm using the cranberries today. Next, we have some dried shredded coconut, and if you are allergic to coconut, you can just leave it out. You could add maybe a little bit extra nuts or seeds, but I like the coconut because it has that chewy texture that helps kind of contrast with the nuts and seeds and the cranberries, and coconut is really one of my favorite ingredients. Next, we're going to add a little bit of pumpkin pie spice. And here in the US, we can buy pumpkin pie spice pre-made. It's really easy to find. I know in some other countries it's harder to find, and in that case you can make your own, and I can link to a recipe below. It's really just a mixture of cinnamon and nutmeg and ginger and maybe a few other spices. It's easy to make. Now I have some coconut flour, and the reason we're using the coconut flour is because we're going to be adding some pumpkin puree, and the coconut flour will kind of help absorb the moisture, and so our granola can get nice and crunchy. And then of course we have our pure pumpkin puree, and I'm just going to add that right in. I always mention this, but be sure to find 100% pumpkin puree as opposed to pumpkin pie mix, which is also found in a can, but it's pretty easy to find 100% pumpkin puree. And I know I've been making a lot of pumpkin recipes lately. I hope you've been enjoying them. We are kind of in the midst of fall, and I just think it's such a fun fall ingredient, and I want to give you as many choices as possible. Okay, so I mix this together. Now we're going to add a little bit of coconut oil. And of course, oil, it will help make the granola crispy. It will help it stick together. And then our last ingredient is maple syrup, because we want to sweeten up our granola. Now, I actually made this recipe and I left out the maple syrup, and surprisingly, it was still really tasty. But I think granola is kind of traditionally a little bit sweet, and so I do want to add the maple syrup this time. Now I have next to me a baking sheet which is lined with aluminum foil and parchment paper, and the reason I line the baking sheet with both is it just makes for easy cleanup. The aluminum foil helps capture any moisture that goes through the parchment paper, and then the parchment paper of course is just a nice surface. It's non-stick, and we're just going to pour out the granola right on top, and then we're going to spread it out into an even layer. This is a really easy recipe to make, and you can make all different kinds of variations of homemade granola. If you wanted to make a chocolate version, a chocolate pumpkin version even, you could add maybe a tablespoon of cocoa powder to the mixture. That would be amazing. You could make, again, you could use raisins, you could use maybe some dried apples and make like a cinnamon apple version. But today we're making this pumpkin spice version, and I think you're really gonna love it. So I have this spread out kind of in an even layer, and we're going to pop this in the oven for about 25 minutes or until it is golden browned on top and nice and crispy. If you're new to eating gluten-free and dairy-free, you might be wondering about what kind of dairy-free alternatives you have. And this hemp milk recipe is so easy. You can make it in just a few minutes, and it's perfect for dairy-free diets, and it's great for serving with our pumpkin spice granola. So let me show you how easy it is to make. And I also wanted to let you know that I have created a gluten-free and dairy-free cheat sheet, which is perfect for people who are new to eating this way. So you can sign up for that cheat sheet in the description box below. So we're going to add hemp seeds to a high-speed blender. And I like to use about a 1/4 cup of hemp seeds to about 3 1/4 cups of water. I find that yields a very creamy hemp milk, and I just think it's the perfect ratio. So I have 3 1/4 cups of filtered water. And then because hemp seeds can have a little bit of like a grassy kind of flavor, I like to sweeten up the hemp milk with 2 pitted medjool dates. Just put those right in. And then to add even more depth of flavor, I have a little bit of vanilla extract. I used to always use a real vanilla bean in my hemp milk, but vanilla beans have gotten so expensive, and vanilla extract is actually quite expensive now these days too, but it's a lot more budget friendly than real vanilla beans. So we have all our ingredients, and we're just gonna blend it up. So hemp milk really only takes about 20 to 30 seconds to blend up in a high-speed blender. That's pretty fast and easy. And then I just like to store my hemp milk in a glass jar, and it will last up to 4 or 5 days in the refrigerator. So once our granola is done cooking, we can serve the granola with a little bit of our hemp milk, and it'll be a really great breakfast or snack option. While the granola was baking, I did a quick little workout, which I love to do when I'm cooking at home. And actually the granola got a teeny bit browner than I would usually have it. And I kind of forgot that once you take it out of the oven and it starts to cool, that's when it really starts to crisp up. And so you can actually take it out before it gets too brown, and you'll know that as it cools, it will get crispier. So I like to store my cooked granola just in a glass bowl, and I usually keep it in the refrigerator, and it will keep for probably up to about 10 days, maybe even longer, but hopefully it won't even last that long. But what I'm going to do is serve a little bit, and then of course I'm going to have it with our homemade hemp milk that I made, and it is going to be such a yummy breakfast. Now, if you wanted to put some fresh fruit on here, some blueberries or fresh banana would be amazing. And this is such an easy recipe to make. I think it is so seasonal and perfect. Let's give it a taste. I just know it's going to be so crunchy. Wow, this granola recipe, it has just the right amount of sweetness and that cinnamon flavor and those warming pumpkin spice flavors. I hope that you really love this recipe. And I will link to some of my other vegan and gluten-free recipes that I think you're really going to love, including my pumpkin spice donuts. So check that video out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.